Hello, welcome to this week's episode of CXNext Live. Great to have first-time visitors to our CXNext Live series, and for those of you that are returning, great to have you back. This is Ryan Lester. I'm our host of CXNext Live. It's been a few weeks since I've been able to do an episode, so it's really great to be back. And I'm also excited because there's some really great news that we're going to share with you today about our CXNext Live series and platform, and excited to share with all of you. But first, joining me is Catherine Hurt. Catherine, welcome.
Thank you.
Great to have you here. Catherine's part of our product marketing team here at LogMeIn. And we're going to talk through some exciting things today that we're really looking forward to sharing with all of you out there. The big news for today, we do this weekly series. Really our goal of this series is helping educate all of you out there around the opportunity to deliver a better customer experience, to get a better connection with your customers, to improve how your employees think about customer experience. And we started this weekly series because we wanted to have more opportunities to engage, more opportunities to teach all of you. But really it was driven from us doing this event last year in June. We held this event CXNext here in Boston, and we got really positive feedback from the event. The content was great, the speakers were great, the folks that attended really had a fantastic time networking with their peers. And so the exciting news that we announced today via a press release and a website is that we're doing a CXNext 2020. It'll be held May 12th, also here in Boston. It's going to be a great event where, once again, taking all this content we cover in these weekly episodes, really helping you as practitioners, thought leaders, building your strategy, bringing that to a full-day event where you can learn from experts, share thoughts and ideas with your peers, learn from real-world case studies. So we're really excited about this event. And we're really excited about kind of the topic around the event. There's so much news and noise around the world of CX. And really, what we're going to focus on this year at the event, and our theme for the event, is engagement redefined. And it's really about how do you think about the way you're interacting with your customers, the way you're interacting with your employees, the way that you build your experiences in your customer journeys, and reimagining those in a better, more productive, more fruitful way. And so I'm really excited about the event. Catherine's been very busy, actively involved. She's doing a lot of work around our showcase and what we'll be highlighting from real-world examples at the event. But we wanted to spend some time today kind of digging into this topic of engagement redefined. And what does that mean? And how does that impact folks like you, and how should you think about that? We'll be following up with weekly series, talking about a lot of these topics, really digging into them in more detail. We'll be sharing more what we're going to be covering at this event. So if you can't attend in person, you can learn more virtually. And then we'll still continue to do our weekly episodes with guests. And I'm really excited about the next few guests we have lined up. But today we want to spend time talking about this event, talking about this topic, and really digging into it in a more detailed way. So Catherine, I know you had some questions, and you and I have been sitting in a room and talking about a lot of this for a number of weeks, if not months. But let's talk through kind of what we're excited about this event, what are some of the topics, and what people could expect.
Definitely. I know I'm very excited about the event, and I think the topic is super timely and relevant. So Ryan, I guess my question for you is, we think that it's definitely time to reimagine how we think about CX. Should we think customer engagement? But really, what does this mean?
Yeah, and it's a great question. And I think, we all are we have the current state of the way we run our business and the way we build our metrics and the way we, incentivize our customers and our employees. And so much this is reimagining those things of how can we do it better? How can we do it different? And really for us, we want to focus on this event is that there are many small things you can do, and we'll touch on this, I think, throughout our time today, but there's many small things you can do that make really big difference. And I think too often we look at the small things around like, okay, we're using email today to engage with our customers. How do we make that email more productive or more effective? When in reality, maybe that's not the best way to engage. Or maybe today we're very phone dependent. So a lot of our customer inquiries are coming in and it's dependent on an agent trying to explain something over the phone and interact over a phone. But that can be really hard, and that can create a barrier between the agent and the customer. Obviously the ideal is you have your employee next to the customer helping them in their journey, but that can be hard at scale, and that can be difficult to do when your customer is on the other side of the country. So how do we think about reimagining that engagement, that experience in a better way, whether that be through our processes, our people, the way we educate and train our people, or the technology we use to do it?
Absolutely.
So I think the thing we're really excited about this event is how do we take this complex customer journey and find new ways, reimagine those ways, and redefine them into how we're going to engage with our customers.
Absolutely. I think it's super timely, and I definitely think it's an area people could learn a lot from. So
that's great.
Great. I guess the next question I have for you is, CX is a tough business, and, we know that the status quo isn't good enough, especially in this competitive environment. It really comes down to where you engage with your customers can make or break a business. How should companies be thinking about reimagining in order to have the best customer experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. And once again, I feel like people get really caught up in the big thing. They're like, oh, we need to redo our website, or we need to, create all new channels of engagement, or we need to implement a chatbot. And while all those big projects are important, at the end of the day, the little moments matter. We're really excited of having Jeannie Walters come in and be one of our keynotes at the event. And one of Jeannie's talk tracks is really around these micro moments, these little experiences. And I that really very much resonates with me. The way I think about it is how easy it is. Trust is something that's hard to build and easy to lose. It's like a bucket of water.
Yes.
And you have a little solo cup that you're filling up that bucket of water, and those little moments matter. And when you create a bad moment, customers get frustrated, and then that's an opportunity for them to leave you as a supplier to them or a provider to them. And so what I think is really important for companies is to think about, one, there's the customer journey, and how do we create better experiences across that journey in a way that empowers the customer and empowers the employee. But then two, our own company journey. What are those little moments we're doing to help celebrate success, create new opportunities, improve the way we think about how we engage with our customers, engage with our employees, and then celebrate those. There's some really interesting work we've been doing with companies around employee empowerment or employee engagement. And one of the biggest things they talk about is like celebrating those little moments even with your employees. So when employees are working, let's say, a new knowledge base or a new content tool or a new tool to help those employees feel more productive, how do we highlight when employees are doing a great job at that? So, hey, someone just created this new piece of content and everyone loves it. Or, we're seeing really high engagement rates and really great ENPS scores. How are we celebrating those? So to me, there's this really cool narrative you can start to build in your own company of how are we improving that customer, those micro moments for the customer, how are we improving for the employees, and then how are we celebrating those micro moments as well.
Absolutely. Especially when you have big changes and you change the way you think about CX, being able to celebrate and understand when there are wins is so important, especially to continue the momentum and keep things going. So that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with so many things in life, it's like problems can seem very challenging at the start. You look at your competitor and you're like, wow, they've done all this stuff. But it's those tiny steps to get you to that larger outcome. And once again, celebrating those along the way. So I think that'll be a really big theme that we'll touch on both in these weekly series, but also really excited to talk through at the event.
Great. Yeah. So another thing I want to touch upon is we all know achieving remarkable CX is a journey. We talked about that, making those steps. And really success lies in transforming your approach to that journey from that first customer engagement all the way through when a customer has a resolution and beyond. So I guess my question for you is, why should companies think about it as that journey that we were talking about?
Yeah, that's great. So this is something we've done for a number of years here. We worked closely with Forrester, and we have this experience maturity model. And it talks about, you could be an experimenter through an evolutionist, all the way up through an expert. And really it's about thinking through your customer experience, and the way you deliver it is a journey. And there's different ways you can mature, and you can mature through your strategy, your technology, your operations, and then also your people, your organizational structure. And what I think is critically important is people too often try to do it all at once. They're like, oh, we need to reorg, and we need to buy new technology, and we need to change our processes. And everyone's left kind of being like, I don't know what my job is here, or it's too much for me to manage. So one thing that we're really excited about in this year's event is highlighting some actual maturity examples. And once again, we'll touch on this in series as well, in our weekly series and in our blogs. But thinking about what's the next problem you need to go attack. Is that problem around creating a better self-service experience so the customer can solve their own problem? Is that around your employee that's in a branch, and how do I help that branch employee feel more empowered and better educated? Is it around my customer needs a little bit of a nudge to better understand what product they should buy so they can put it into the cart? Or they put it in the cart, and I'm trying to help them better understand like that shipping can be free, but they have to do X, Y, Z. So there's all these little places in a customer's journey that you can create better outcomes, and figuring out that map to success. So here's what we want to do over the next 3 months, over the next 6 months, over the next 12 months, And you set that 12-month, 18-month vision, but then you have those building blocks along the way. And the way the visual I always like to talk about is it's like crossing a river. And at first you have to be like, well, the river looks deep and wide and the water's running fast. And it's like, all right, well, what's the next pylon? What's the next thing we're going to build towards? And then what's after that? And what's after that? And you still want to show the other side of the river. You want to show that beautiful future and lots of wonderful food and everything will be great. You have this great CX other side of the river. But what are those kind of pylons, those building blocks of the bridge to get you there? And I think giving companies those playbooks or that path towards their CX success and then seeing it in other real world examples really helps to make it practical, approachable, and not feel like such a daunting task. I think another important thing is that in the world we live in today, small companies are competing with very large companies, and there's always new startups coming into the market. So also learning that what are large companies doing, what are small companies doing, and making it something that any company can approach is also critically important. So I'm really excited for us digging into that topic.
Absolutely. I think you definitely touched upon like two parts here. One is making sure you have the right steps to get to that journey and not feeling overwhelmed. But the other is that the journey can be different for different companies.
Exactly right.
And being able to understand, my journey, what I want my customers to have an optimal experience with could be different from someone else. And really building that and creating the best experience that's right for your company is super important.
Totally. And I like good examples that I can think of that you're bringing to light is, you may say, hey, our customers want to engage in a more digital self-service way. But then the question was, okay, does that mean that we should create better self-service on our website? Should we do that through a messaging app? Should we do it through a mobile app? And all those are different paths towards a better future. But then the question becomes then what's the problem you're trying to solve? And what's the problem your customer's trying to solve? And to your point, that journey may be different for 3 different companies. Even though their end goal is better self-service, better customer enablement, there may be many different paths to that success. And so we're going to dig through all that through this research we did with Forrester and then through some sessions here and at CXNext.
Absolutely. Awesome. So I guess the next kind of question that we have is, so CX is made up of all those small moments that matter that we talked about, but really, why should companies sweat the small stuff? I know we talked about trust, and that's a big important part of it, but really, what does that mean for companies, and why should they, care about that?
Yeah, that's great. There was a really good quote I saw recently around like, if you can only be slightly better than the average, your customer experience is monumentally better. It doesn't really take much to delight people. People kind of, unfortunately, with the way the world is, people kind of have come to the point of it's like, well, if someone's not mean to me, it's good enough, which is the sad state of affairs. But I think that so many companies are struggling with like the massive amount of volume, finding cost efficiencies, feeling like they're always behind, that there's little points in a customer's journey that you can make a huge difference and a huge impact. And also in many cases, most companies often know where those friction points are. They say, this is where customers are having challenges in our returns process, in our discovery process of what their product is for them. And so if you can go attack those little micro moments, those friction points, you can all of a sudden create a much better experience for your customer. And so our goal here is to say, where are those friction points? How do you want to make it better than your competitor? And then what's the right way to go solve that problem? Is it through technology? Is it through training? Is it through employee enablement? And so spending time thinking about where are those friction points? Where are those little moments that we can make 10% better, 20% better, and then maybe even 100% better? It can really make a vast difference in the customer experience. And I think to your earlier point, that will vary from company to company, but there are definitely ahas that you can share. So it might be that you as a bank are dealing with challenges around having customers fill out forms. And it's a really hard process. You may have parallels to the telco industry because there's a lot of form filling going on in the telco industry when someone signs up for a contract. And so there's this great opportunity to learn on where are those friction points in our customer journey, how do we attack those little micro moments, and learning from your peers, whether it's, once again, a technology solution, a process solution, a people solution, et cetera.
Absolutely. And I know, as a consumer in my own right, and maybe I'm more sensitive to it because I work in CX, but, having, those small wins or those small moments when you're buying something or trying to figure out a return, et cetera, and you get great customer, experience or service, it'll make or break your brand loyalty. So it is super important, and it just goes to show small moments mean a lot.
Absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely right. And I there's always good examples you can look at, like in the hospitality industry. Yeah. And that's a nice thing I really get excited about, like doing this CXNext series and the event is just, there's so many great examples of success out there. Mm-hmm. It may not be a technology success. It may not be like you're going to take what they've implemented and do it yourself, but the methodology, the outcome, the customer-centric approach is something that you can internalize and then be like, well, how would we do this to solve our customer's problem?
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of circling back to what we talked about a few minutes ago with friction points and trying to find ways to relieve those, what are your thoughts on the role technology should play in redefining engagement?
Yeah, I know that it's so many times people look at technology as like the solution to all questions or all problems. And while I think it's great, I think you have to have clarity on the problem first. Mm-hmm. And going back to this thing we work on with Forrester's maturity model, there's 4 aspects of it. There's the strategy. So this is what's the problem we want to solve? Where are we trying to go? What does the other side of the river look like? There's technology, which is important, but is only one of 4 aspects. There's the operational part of it, like what's the process we're going to use? And then there's the people part. Mm-hmm. So, how do we want to structure our people? Who should do this job? Why are they best suited to do it? And so I think technology can be a wonderful enabler when you know the problem you want to solve. And the exciting thing is, with the world of cloud and SaaS, it's easier than ever to adopt new technology. Mm-hmm. I think too often, though, people see technology implemented by their peers, and they're like, we need that. Like, that's what we want. Yeah. And you're like, well, that's not solving the right problem. Or they try to go to the furthest, they basically try to jump the river in one jump, when in reality, they should have probably taken a multi-step approach. Yeah. So what's the simplest thing we can do with technology to start? So in the world of self-service, how do we build a better customer service page or a customer service portal? How do we use NLP to just simply better organize our content and focus on the right content? And then work on things like a chat bot or a conversational bot or AI working behind the scenes with your employees. There's many ways that you can take technology and have it solve a problem, but if you're not clear on the problem and the process and the people that are going to use it, it often is a bad investment. And so what I'm really excited about that we do in this series and we'll do at this event is highlight where technology is a really great enabler and how it can help you really scale, but when we were very deliberate on the problem we were trying to solve.
Yeah, I totally agree. It all comes back to identifying the problem, the friction points, and leveraging technology in the best way possible to help, create that better customer experience and those end results. So great.
Yeah, and the other point I make too is that I think many times when new technology comes, people get excited about the technology and they're just like, let's go build it. Let's go work on it. And especially too, you might have an innovation group, which is great, or you might have a very progressive IT department. And while they're awesome people to have at the table, like they're great stakeholders, it still has to come back to what's that customer problem? What's that friction point? What's the thing we're really trying to go solve and being very deliberate about it? And then say, okay, now great, let's get this great set of stakeholders. Let's get more people at the table. Let's get our customer service team. Let's get our care organization. Let's get IT. Let's get innovation. Let's get them all at the table to then go attack that problem and then rinse and repeat. Do it again, do it again. And once again, we're building those kind of pylons across the river.
Absolutely. Great. Okay, so I guess the last question I have, just to kind of wrap everything up, what are your final thoughts or what are you most excited about the CXNext event in May?
Yeah, so I have a great opportunity in my time here at LogMeIn to spend a lot of time with our customers, with, experts in the industry. And what I really enjoy about this event is the people that are there, really the network of folks. Yeah. I do a podcast, I do this series. And what's so fun is that we spend a whole day together and it's really about kind of celebrating what's best of CX. Like really how can you spend your time delivering better results and learning from those around you? And what I'm so excited about is there's multiple ways we're going to do that. So one is, we'll have experts on stage. They'll be talking about their stories. We're going to have a lot of examples of these journeys. So, how did someone move from, I know I have a problem, I'll admit it. Now, what am I going to do about it? How am I going to go?
Definitely.
Admitting of the problem is the first step. But what am I going to do about it? And then what do I do next? And what do I do after that? And what was their path towards kind of CX nirvana to reimagining their experiences? So we'll have a bunch of those examples. The work you're doing with the showcase to highlight real world examples of success and, what's the next wave of innovation look like and how's that going to play out? So to me, being at this event, having all these great people where we're all kind of, it's almost like going to university. It's like you have all these smart people in the room, you're all sharing and ideating, and you're all becoming better out of it. And you're celebrating the success. You're celebrating that CX matters, that we're all trying to make the journey better, and we're all trying to do it in our own way, through our own journey, improving our own customer journey. But at the end of the day, all trying to get to that new kind of engagement, reimagine, engagement, redefine. So that's what I'm most excited about.
Absolutely. I know we talked a lot about, the other side of the river and crossing it and getting there, and it can seem ambiguous. And sometimes, solving the CX journey problem can seem, overwhelming and isolating. So I think having everyone come together and share, like, I have the same problem and I found this solution is going to be, super helpful, and, something that is going to be a great way to share best practices and really connect with others who, are facing those same problems, not only at the event, but after as well.
Well, and that's a great point too. And this is why we created the series, is that to me, it's an ongoing dialogue. And so the other great thing is too, that I've met many people there that I keep in touch with that are, people I have in my kind of list of folks of, hey, I'm running into this challenge. Have you ever faced this? Do you know someone who's faced it? How did you look at it? So I think also it's an ongoing dialogue. And the one thing that's great about this series is that we get to dig into these topics every week, which also helps make the event better, and then helps make everybody that's at the event have a way they can stay connected and in touch. So so I'm really excited. I really looking forward to it. A lot of hard work goes into folks like you and our team to prepare for it, and also really excited to open up this dialogue around engagement reimagined and thinking about how we can do things better in a better way for both our customer, in a better way for our employee, and then ultimately a better way for our business, so that the outcomes are better, but it feels like we're doing less work. And that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah. Great.
So I've really enjoyed our conversation.
Yeah, me too.
Thanks for joining me today. And thank you for all your hard work. And I know the work's just started.
Yeah.
But it'll be a fun couple of weeks until we get to our event in May. And for all of you out there, feel free to check out our Twitter handle at CXNext. You can also go to CXNext.com to learn more about the event and register for the event. And really, my intention out of this and bringing it up to all of you is really to start thinking about how you want to reimagine your experiences. How you want to create a new way of engaging your customers, engaging your employees. And really, this weekly series is to help you do that. So feel free to bring in comments, topics. If there's things we touched on today that really energized you or excited you, send us a note, shoot us a tweet. The goal of doing this weekly series is to help you all be better CX practitioners. We'll be highlighting a number of things that we'll be doing at the event leading up to it, but we'll also be doing this weekly series with experts. Once again, I'm excited for our next couple of guests coming in the next few weeks. And obviously, really enjoy all of your engagement out there. We all get better at working at this problem together. So I want to thank you for joining. Check in next week. We'll be back to our regular scheduled day of Wednesday. So check in next week for our weekly installment of CXNext Live. Check out, once again, at CXNext on Twitter and CXNext.com. And look forward to the event. And thank you all for joining, and looking forward to our continued conversation on making us all be better CXNext leaders. Thanks again, Catherine, for joining.
Thank you.
And talk to you all again soon. Take care.